I'm back, baby. This is your boy Marko Stats, and this is another edition of Marko Stats Reacts. I'm officially back from my trip from the Bay, San Francisco. I got a San Francisco Bay vlog dropping real soon, but before I drop it, I got to get back into the reactions. Every time I travel, I always have some of the most interesting experiences, sometimes good, sometimes bad. I've had a couple racist experiences while being out of town. Now, San Francisco is a city where there's not too many black people, so literally the whole time I was in San Francisco, people were just staring at me, especially because I got a Cuban link chain on, I got dreadlocks, my outfit's a little bit different. Like, people could tell that I'm not from there. So it really made me curious to know, what are some of the most racist states in America? And I came across this video that's going to give us the top 10 breakdown of the top 10 most racist states in America. So without further ado, let me stop talking because I know I be talking a lot. We just going to jump right into it. What y'all think is going to make the list? This is the top 10 most racist states in America.
Racism, an issue this country has faced since the beginning. From slavery to Native American genocide to Jim Crow laws and internment camps, racism has always been a part of U.S. history. And although the nation has enacted many federal and state-level laws to prevent the woes of the past from ever happening again, racism is still a problem today. Now, racism is defined as any prejudice or discrimination against a person based on their race or ethnic group. And while most people can identify that this is morally wrong, many still unintentionally subscribe to racist views. And according to anonymous social media listening data, some people have a lot of racist views. Of course, it's difficult to quantify exactly how racist the state really is, as most racist people aren't going to admit to a poll worker that they're racist. Many do, however, get pretty bold when they can hide behind a screen. So location-based monitoring of tweets and Google searches gives us a pretty good indication. Remember though, while the following states do have many racist people, most people in these states are not racist. But if you want to see more videos concerning race, such as the 10 states with the highest black or white populations, let's hit 5,000 likes. These are the 10 most racist states in America. Number 10. Maryland. On the surface, Maryland doesn't seem very racist. It's one of the least systemically racist states with the 12th lowest income gap by race, and is the 11th most racially integrated state in terms of the workplace, schools, and voting booth.
That's interesting because a lot of rich black people live in Maryland.
So it's surprising that 16.59% of Twitter accounts discussing race in the state used hateful or derogatory language, especially since many researchers believe poor education to be the biggest cause of racism, and Maryland is the 4th most educated state. But considering its racist past, it also makes sense. Interracial marriage was illegal here until 1967. Both Rising Sun and Thurmont, two small towns in northern Maryland, were once home to the headquarters of a KKK chapter. And despite Maryland's nickname being the Free State, it was actually one of the last states to outlaw slavery, not doing so until November of 1864. So while very few people today act on their hateful views, with only 11 hate crimes based on race or religion reported in 2020, that dark history of racism still lingers here, especially in the more rural parts of the state. Number 9. West Virginia. There are countless Reddit posts by people of color who are scared to even visit West Virginia due to its reputation as the most racist state. And our data kind of backs it up, as 16.78% of West Virginian tweets about race used hateful rhetoric. But unlike in Maryland, where the racism is mostly subtle, many West Virginians are openly racist. Multiple Reddit users say they commonly hear white people say the N-word, and many others advise POC to keep quiet and stay out of bars, as racist views and drunkenness often lead to dangerous situations. One Redditor in particular noted, "There is a lot of racism here. I know some of y'all are going to tell me you don't see it, but I know you do. When we have to tell people to wear WVU gear to blend in and to stay away from bars for their safety, that's a big racism problem." Of course, it's also worth noting that most West Virginians are incredibly welcoming, but as 97.4% of the population is white, many people here, particularly in the more rural parts have never seen someone with a different skin tone in their entire life. And as many West Virginians are wary of people they don't know, this ignorance is likely the cause of their racist views. But hey, at least the Mountain State has the 10th lowest employment gap by race and the 2nd lowest income gap. Although that may also be because there are literally no good paying jobs, so there can't even be a big gap since everyone's poor. Number 8. Arkansas. With signs like these and a former sheriff of Arkansas County caught on camera saying racial slurs, including the N-word, it's no surprise Arkansas is on this list. It is a surprise that it's only one of 2 southern states to make the cut, however, as many first-hand accounts claim the South to have the most in-person racism. But that might just be because a majority of the racist population in southern states is older, and many older people don't use Twitter. Overall, 16.83% of tweets discussing race in Arkansas did so in a hateful way, which shouldn't be a shocker considering the natural state is home to the largest number of hate groups per capita, as well as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan, which is headquartered in Zinc. And speaking of Zinc, it's only a 20-minute drive from Harrison, Arkansas, which many deem to be the most racist town in America. Now sure, not everyone in the town is racist, and a lot of the younger generation is trying to change its reputation, but many of the older residents are actually proud of their hateful views and have no shame showcasing them to the world. Number 7. Kansas. Kansas is the first state on our list where the data shows.
Okay, I've been to Kansas before. I had a performance that was in Kansas. It was a great performance, but I remember after the performance, a white lady came up to me and she was just asking me weird questions. She was like, why do you talk about violent stuff? And why do you have all this stuff in your video? And it was just, I don't know. That was the first time I did a show and people tried to press me after the show based upon my lyrics and shit. Like, she just had so many questions like, oh, like, why do you have to show these violent things in your video? Why do you have to talk about these violent things? Why do you have to do this and all that stuff? And I was just, I don't know. I thought it was weird. I couldn't tell if she was trying to make fun of me or if she just really wanted to know.
Shows there's a systemic problem with racism. The income gap by race is the 34th worst of any state, and in terms of racial integration, it's 37th. Now, I've been all over Kansas, and I'm honestly surprised it didn't rank even lower. In Wichita, for example, it feels like there's a literal line dividing the Black, Latino, and white neighborhoods. The same goes for the Kansas City suburbs, where, as one Redditor put it, I think the problem is that the older generation have decided that minority influx, or even the perception of their presence, explicitly causes loss of property value and desirability. Another Reddit user from rural Kansas claimed, "You'll definitely hear unkind comments regarding minorities, in particular, quote-unquote, illegals and Muslims." I guess it makes sense that many of the elderly here have racist views, as some of them were alive when Jim Crow laws still existed. And unfortunately, at least some of that racism seems to have been handed down to the younger generations of Twitter users, because 16.95% of all tweets referencing race in Kansas did so in a hateful or derogatory way. Number 6, Wisconsin. Outside of dairy, drinking, and the Packers, most non-Wisconsinites probably don't know much about the state.
I've been to Wisconsin as well. I recorded my first song ever in Wisconsin back when I was 17 because I couldn't find no studios that was in Chicago. So my homie had an uncle that lived in Wisconsin. We took the megabus to Wisconsin. Boom, recorded my first song in Wisconsin. In Madison. I thought it was going to be a whole bunch of white people, but no. The part that we was at, it was all black people, and them niggas had guns.
State. But now you have something else to add to the list, because in 2020 alone, 74 hate crimes were committed in Wisconsin, which also just so happens to be the worst state in terms of racial integration and 43rd in terms of income gap by race. Even the Milwaukee Bucks president publicly chimed in on the issue, saying, "Very bluntly, Milwaukee is the most segregated racist place I have ever experienced in my life." Which makes sense considering that many of Milwaukee's suburbs, such as Brookfield, were formed by racist policies like redlining and blockbusting. Even the schools in Milwaukee were segregated until the 70s. One Redditor from Brookfield shared their experience. "Never in my 30 years have I experienced so much racism and prejudice. I share the same socioeconomic status as many folks in this community, and I am highly educated. Nonetheless, it seems as if all black people are quote-unquote thugs to them. I have been subjected to harsh stereotypes at neighborhood gatherings and been stopped and pulled over many times on my way to or from from my
real
house
thugs,
for
nigga.
no reason. In
Fuck you talking
fact,
about?
my husband had the cops called on
Call
him
us
and
a
was
thug,
accused
I'ma
of
make
breaking
your
into
ass
our own home
feel
just for
this
moving
thuggerish.
furniture. Considering testimonies like
thuggerish
that,
energy,
the fact that 16.98% of tweets referencing race were hateful isn't exactly a shocker. Number 5. Hawaii. The land of rainbows
Hawaii?
isn't colorblind, but the issue isn't what you might think. While 17.06% of tweets referencing race in the state were deemed derogatory, upon further research, many of the offensive tweets were coming out of a place of ignorance rather than hate, due to the popularity of rap music and simultaneous lack of a heavy black culture in the state.
I may be ignorant, but aren't Hawaiian people melanated as well? So who's being racist towards who?
One Redditor explains, you'll hear the N-word a lot on the Big Island. Not by racists, but by people who grew up on rap and don't fully realize the severity of the word. Another user says, the racism you'll inevitably experience won't be hostile, but it'll be very ignorant. I can't stress that Hawaii and the mainland have much different definitions of political correctness. Everyone makes comments about and jokes about race. Now, in terms of institutional racism, Hawaii is actually the least racist state. It has the lowest employment gap by race, the 8th lowest income gap, and was ranked as having the best racial integration of the workplace, schools, and voting booths. Number 4. Mississippi. Wait, what? You're telling me we're actually not the worst at something for once? Finally! Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. But before you get too excited, the percentage of tweets mentioning race in a hateful way is still 18.59%. That's a big jump from Hawaii. And since Mississippi is the only deep south state on this list, even though most Reddit users agree that it's probably the most racist region in the country, this study obviously isn't perfect, so who knows? Maybe Mississippi...
A lot of the black people that's in Chicago, a lot of their families are from Mississippi. Like, that's one thing that I've realized and I've noticed from just a lot of my black friends that's in Chicago. Now, their family is from Mississippi, the South. My family, my mom's side of the family is from Brazil. That's South America. That's the real South America. There's the South of this country, of this continent, which is North America. You got the South of the United States, which is like Mississippi and all that. But then you also have the South of North America, which technically would be like Mexico and Belize and places like that. But then you also have a whole nother continent, South America, all right? Brazil, Argentina, Peru, all these places are in South America. That's where my people from. So they not even from this continent. They from the real South America, you know?
Is actually the worst. I mean, they have the 8th largest employment gap by race and the 12th largest income gap, even with the lowest incomes in the nation. Heck, last year actually marked the first time in history that Mississippi voters opted to remove a Jim Crow era law from their constitution. The provision, which was designed to prevent black Americans from holding office, made Mississippi the only state that could withhold a person from winning an election, even if they garnered a majority of the vote. And I guess it worked, because a black candidate has never been elected to any statewide office here, despite it being the blackest state in the country. Number 3. Maine. While the laws in workplace in Maine seem to be actively anti-racist, resulting in the 2nd lowest employment gap by race and the 17th lowest income gap, that doesn't mean many people here aren't still racist or ignorant. Over 95% of Maine is white, and much of the population is very rural. So outside of the Portland area, many Mainers have never seen a non-white person. And this ignorance seems to be the basis for most racism here. As one Reddit user describes, thing is, the people up here don't even know they're being racist. Like when I'm eating something unfamiliar and Asian for lunch at work, I'll get rude comments about eating rice or weird animal parts. My coworkers also walk by saying ching chong ching chong. They think they're being funny, but it's offensive. So many Redditors have also noted there being an unusually large amount of Confederate flags, despite Maine being about as far away from the Confederacy as you could get, and that tons of white people casually say the N-word and hold racist views against the Somali immigrant population. This
I'll smack the fuck out of one of them Maine niggas, man.
Translates to the online world as well, as 19.2.
You could be a white nigga. It's a lot of white niggas.
5% of tweets regarding race used hateful or racist language. Number 2. South Dakota. Despite being right next to Wyoming, which is one of the least racist states according to the study, South Dakota definitely deserves its spot on this list. Not only are 20% of tweets referencing race in the state derogatory, South Dakota also has the second worst employment gap by race and the worst income gap. WalletHub actually ranks it as the third most segregated state in terms of the workplace, schools, and voting booths. And things only get worse when you consider that South Dakota is one of the least white Great Plains states, with just 84% of the population identifying as white and a large percentage identifying as indigenous. One Redditor states, "I won't sugarcoat this. I have seen firsthand landlords and employers reject applicants solely from Native American names and appearances. They told me to my face they do it regularly." Many other Reddit users talk of similar experiences, such as this.
How the fuck y'all gonna take their land and now they trying to get a fucking a property, apartment, a home on the land that y'all took from them, and y'all telling them no, denying them? What type of shit? Like, bro, and this is shit that be blowing me. And America got the audacity to get mad at me if I steal something or if I do some shit like that. But y'all literally doing shit like this. Like, what the fuck? It's like the whole thing with the fucking economy. We owe all this money to China and all these other countries, but y'all got the nerve to get on my ass because I owe the IRS $200? Man, if y'all don't sit y'all ass down and figure out that other shit, man, we got bigger problems. We got bigger fish to fry, man. Y'all over here, man, y'all shouldn't be able to tell us shit. Y'all owe China trillions and billions of dollars and shit. Go handle that shit first, nigga.
This account. I applied for a law enforcement position and was asked by the interview board if I would pull people over solely for being Native 3 times before I walked out. South Dakota has had a long history of racism towards Native Americans, and it's seemingly still very present today. Now, before we get to number 1, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what you think the most racist state is. But without further ado, number 1. Delaware. What the heck? Delaware? That's so random.
Y'all know who funny as hell that's from Delaware? Sukiana. Sukiana is from Delaware. I know it's crazy. It's surprising. I thought she was from Atlanta, but when you really research Sukiana, she from Delaware, gang. And that shit just, I don't know anybody from Delaware. I didn't even know that black people was in Delaware. So that's an interesting story. I feel like she should talk more about that. But Sukiana, her little thick ass, her little badass, hey, shorty, you already know how the fuck I'm coming if you don't. I'm Marko Swayze, shorty. When I get to the top, you gonna hear about me. We gonna have interactions, baby.
I know. I literally thought the exact same thing and quadruple checked to make sure the data was accurate. But it's true. 21.4% of users tweeting about race in Delaware did so in a derogatory way. In contrast, Vermont was far and away the least racist state, with only 6.96% of tweets about race being hateful. So yeah, you can do better, America. And especially you, Delaware. Who even lives in Delaware? Oh wait, my dad does. This may be both the first and last list that Delaware ever appears on, as the state is just too small to really be relevant. No offense, Dad. But for now, Delaware can say it's number 1 at something. Although I probably wouldn't brag about this one.
There you guys have it. The top 10 most racist states in America. I don't know how accurate this list was because he didn't talk about Indiana. He didn't talk about Florida. He ain't talk about Illinois. He ain't talk about Missouri. He ain't talk about Texas. Like, it's a lot of racist ass states. Damn near every single state is racist. And I always tell people that when you're black, because within the black community, we have this thing where subconsciously we take pride in coming from places that's difficult, that's dark, coming from poverty, gang violence. We literally take pride in that shit. And it's always an argument. Oh, man, I'm from O Block. I'm from the real trenches. You ain't from the real trenches. You from up north. You from this hood. You ain't from the real trenches. We the real trenches. We literally take pride in that, and we value that. We value the struggle and being able to make it out of the struggle. We literally value that, which is crazy. So that shit is just something that I feel like needs to stop, because when you're black, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. it's always gonna be some type of bullshit that you gonna have to navigate. If you black and you live in the hood, you gotta watch out for gang violence. You gotta watch out for the police. Okay, you go to school, you get a degree, you get a good job, you move out the hood. Now you in the suburbs. Now you got to deal with your racist neighbors. Your neighbors gonna be racist, and the people out there gonna be racist because it's a bunch of white people out there and people that don't look like you. You move into the neighborhood, they gonna be racist against you. So you like, damn, I just moved out the hood, had to watch out for the police every day and the ops every day. I'm in the suburbs now. Now I gotta watch out for the racist people. So it's steady shit that you gotta navigate no matter where you at. It's either you gotta deal with shit from your own people or from other people that don't like you. So when you're black, it doesn't matter where you from. It don't matter what hood you from. It don't matter if you from the suburbs, you from the city. If you're black, period, you always gonna deal with some type of level of obstacles. It's gonna be some type of obstacle that you're gonna have to face. Obstacles, plural, that you're gonna have to face because of your color, no matter where you at in the world. Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, it doesn't matter where you at, the US. And that's something that I want to stress to y'all, because all it is trying to prove who the hardest nigga based upon where they grew up and all that shit, man. Like, that shit bullshit, bro. I'm just keeping it real. But there you guys go, man. Make sure that you guys like this video, comment on this video. Let me know what y'all think is the racist state, because like I said, it's a lot of states he left on there. I've had some racist experiences in a lot of different states. Connecticut, Missouri, Florida, like the list goes on. California, Illinois, Indiana. Like I'm telling y'all, make sure that y'all click that post notification bell, subscribe to my channel. We got more vlogs on the way. Like I said, San Francisco vlog coming real soon, baby. I got a lot of shit in store. I'm just excited, man. I love you guys. Till next time, Swayze. Stay safe out there, all right?